Hello future tech leaders, I am Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
In the Hub console, we were going to have exports and imports. Export is pretty simple. We can just go ahead, use the CMX and just save it. And wherever we want to go ahead and put that particular file, we just always use the date for that. And it will export each and everything for us. Now our schema and all the configurations are less. It took that much less time. In many cases, I have seen this thing run for 2.5 hours as well, just because of the configurations. Import, we cannot do. We will be doing the promote part. You can see on the text of it. I have just now as a .change file. And if you want to go ahead and view it, you can view that in. And this is what we see. I already have earlier export that I can go ahead and showcase how it will look like if there would be any new table or any new changes would be there, then how it will be looking for us. We always use visual. We don't use change list because a change list will be with multiple different things and you'll just go ahead and do everything in one shot. Then it's a different case altogether. We always use visual. We select the file repository. And I use this one because if I take this one, then there won't be any changes which will be there. I'll use this. And over here in the target, I'll use CMS or there will be differences over here. You can see whenever there would be a difference, you'll see these signs. Now, first thing is we don't for in the very early stage, we always use import. That is clear. Now in this, if there is a star over here, which means it is extra in this particular part and over here it is not there. And anything which is having this sign, which means it's an update, it's a change in these two configurations. Second thing what we need to go ahead and do first is base objects. Every single time we'll be going ahead and we'll be doing first thing would be base object. In base object, we always go ahead and do parent base objects, which is lookup tables. Then second would be child base objects. Which is if there is an independent lookup and or I would say main parent table. Or parent base objects. Then we use the remaining tables. Once those are done, then we go ahead and do landing tables. Once landing tables are done, then we use mappings. Once mappings are done, then we use cleans function. But if there is any cleans function which is utilized in mapping, then this particular part will come like this. After mapping, we go ahead and do queries. Then packages. Once these are done, then we use hierarchy. Once hierarchies are done, then over here our main objects, main things are completed. Then we use secure resources from SM securities. Only secure resources, we move nothing else. We never use anything else. In SMM securities, we only go ahead and use secure resources. Because secure resources, you have any base object which is created newly. If you move them, they will be moved as private resource. We have to move them as secure. This configuration will update that particular private to secure. After you have done this particular part, then we use business entity and business entity service configuration. After this, we use component instance. After component instance, we use business entity, saved queries. This is what a particular segment is. How do we go ahead and migrate? Now, how do we migrate them? If you want, I can just put it into text. This is the actual sequence, how we go ahead and do that. Now over here, if you have the same table name, what do we do? You can see over here, there are address, type, line 1, line 2, then there is a state, there is pin code, there is landmark and on and on. There is exactly same. You will be facing these things multiple times. Whenever we go ahead promote these things, we use the first option to promote. And over here we use merge, and in merge we use the source value as final result. Source value means if there are any new attributes, that will be only added over here. It will not delete the values or delete the column names. We use this for how many things? For your first two things, your base objects part and your SAM securities. This is where you go ahead and use source value as the final result. For all the other things, because there are no data which will be stored over there, that is only configuration. Whenever you replace it, the target objects will be dropped and the data will be lost. For this particular purpose, we use it for the entire other things other than any base object. Because in base object, you can have all the entity objects as well. Whereas in hierarchies, you will only have the profile entity objects. This will be already been shifted. Once you will be shifting the base object, these things will not be there. Only what you have to go ahead and move. Hierarchies or profiles. These are the things which you will be moving in. And for this purpose, you can go ahead and use replace. But better to utilize for hierarchies also, you can utilize the sources target. Why do we use replace, or where do we use replace? We use a replace functionality where there is no data associated. Just like cleans function, landing table, mappings, queries, packages, business entities, business entity services, component instances, or any saved query. There is no data, it's only configuration. That is how we utilize. Once, let's say, we'll go ahead and just push this contact table. But for contact, it will be going ahead and creating a party with no issues. We'll just go ahead and do this promote. We'll just go ahead, use the source if there would be any kind of things which will be there. It will give us what all things will be created. We'll just state. Once that is done, we'll see over here as well. But it has not been applied yet. It has just migrated. It is still temporary. For migration to be successful, we use apply. Once we do apply changes, we'll see these two things. We always use full rollback. Until and unless we are seeing any issues, there won't be any data which will be changed, or which will be permanent. It will roll back the entire stuff which we promoted. That we don't have to focus on what is being promoted, where we are seeing issues and all those things. That's why we use full rollback. Rollback to last change. Until any error comes in. It will be permanent. And it will only stop where there would be an issue, and only that particular table or that particular configuration will be skipped. Otherwise, all those others will not be skipped. That's why we always use full rollback. We just click. And at the end, data integrating. Yes, for sure. We'll just go ahead and validate the entire stuff, if that has been correct or not. That is how we go ahead and do promotions. In this, you can see that we just moved only a single table. That is how we use it for single setups as well. If you want to go ahead and check it out, go ahead, select the same XORs. And you will see the contact has been moved over here with everything. All the columns, staging table, and everything. I don't know why people go ahead and create status as unique. Only 2 records will be there. On maximum 3 records can be there. But that's how people create, and many times they go into initial. We are not able to insert more records. But we are getting an error. You will get because you have a unique constraint. That is one way. Second thing is rules. How do we create rules? Acquire the log. Acquiring a log, not an exclusive one. Acquire the log. Click Add a rule. Name the rule. And once you name it, you will see according to this. There are 2 ways to give privileges. Either you go ahead and give privileges one by one in cleans function, these and these and these. Or else you can just go ahead and give either over here. All these things will directly get the access. Second way is to give nested rules. What do you mean by nested rules? Let's say we go ahead, we create a read-only user, which will only have read and execute. That's it. Nothing else will be there. If read and execute we have given and the other person needs to have. Or create an update as well. Nothing else. We can utilize that particular role and we can state this particular role we need to. At least these roles and more we need. Let's just see over here. You can see manager is there. If I just go ahead and uncheck the manager, what will happen? Let's see. All the rate has been gone. If I'm selecting this one from the manager, it is getting these rules. If I go ahead and change anything in the manager, let's say I am not giving the cleans function, I just removed it and save it. This is what it will happen. The users automatically went out. That is a good thing as well as a bad thing. Why? Because if we are going with a nested role, we need to keep in mind that any changes if we are doing in the parent role, that same thing will be reflected in child as well. Once the privileges and all those things are being done, users are added over there. These groups are AD groups or Active Directory groups if you are utilizing the LDAP functionality. We always go ahead and create over here those groups. And these are the users in the database. And if you have to assign, we just click over here. We click on Edit and we can go ahead and assign any user over here. If I just click over here, that will be added over here. Over here, I am assigning the roles to the user. Or the users to those roles. And over here it is composite. I can assign a particular user to as many roles as I want. That is, what roles and privileges is there. First thing is how to go ahead and get started with any of the CFT packages. And why do we use SOAP in this showcase? We always go with CMX/S files. If you go with these files, you will see those vistas over here directly. Go ahead, copy the link address. Once this is installed, I will showcase you what will happen. I don't need to do this, only this one. It will give us a starting point. How can we go ahead and have our SOPs to be created? And for REST calls, we always go for mem10.4 REST calls. And this is all the REST API calls you can directly get. It will open up the entire page for us. This is online help. This is documents. You can see all the API calls all over here. These many functionalities we directly have. How to get started? These are IST calls and the ones which I'm showcasing from over here. This will be added directly into the projects kind of a thing, but it will be utilized as a SAP functionality. These are IST calls. Why the SAP API is starting? It takes time. Project directly. Just initiate the result which we just took from there. It will directly come over here. Creates the test suite. This one. It will directly go ahead and give us all the files. It will load entire definitions from there. What all things you want to go at test suite is to create single or one operation, each using the existing, or to create empty. We'll go ahead and create empty and just click. It will go ahead and create a test suite for us. That is why 19% of Informatica developers use SAP UI. Because this particular part is not there in Postman. This one is SOAP finding. And this is the test. Anything you want. Let's say we just open a read entity. It will showcase us the entire stuff, which is what all things are optional. It will just go ahead and give you as optional. And it will just say how many things are what all things needs to be there. Over here you are seeing you are in and you are in one. All these you are in and there is a safe and active was we use safe. Apart from this, you are in real safe over there in place of your. It's basically either you use your or you use safe. You cannot use both in a single call. This your parameters. We don't need to. We need to go over here. It is authentication and authentication. All those things will be entered. System feed base objects and all. For the rest of us, we'll just go over here. Anything, let's say read or record. This simple thing. You can just directly go ahead, use a sample API and from sample API, I'll get the entire list. If you want to use directly this local system still over here, it will be same. Just this local host will be changed to your domain and the port. This will be same. This is your database ID or OAuth ID where you can get the OAuth ID. OAuth ID is always over here. This is your OAuth ID. This is your business entity and this is your OID object. All these are the samples which you can utilize. Let's say we'll just utilize forget. And we change it over there. From person we'll say party. Because we have the same thing for party. Let's say party. Capital. We have to use exactly the same. This is our side. We'll just go over here. And paste. And these things are third. We need to have a get call. We'll just say, let's say the MDM object not respond to the business entity. We don't have credentials. And we got no record found with that particular key. We can just go ahead and check the OID object and we have the records. Anything can be done from over here. Any sample request. If we have to create a record, we can go over here. Sampling. And the same will be done. It will be the post. What would be the system name? Ask comments. And if there is any attachment, we just need to have the system name. We'll just go over here. System name. Others we don't need. It would be a post and content type would be application as JSON. We'll use post. Over here it would be content type application JSON and we'll just put the entire JSON file which has been shifted over here, but we'll use the party. How many fields are there? From our side, first name, last name, registry ID and status. These are there. We'll use these things. In this one, this item set is utilized for child tables. Accordingly, we'll go ahead and use it. That is how set calls are being done. If you want to go ahead and use the SOAP calls, then in the guide itself, you can find out SOAPs. And in that all these like over here, it has been written. In that same way, you'll be having SOAP calls as well. You'll just see. All the requests and response. Everything will be. You'll get those calls and authentication methods and everything. Everything will be over here. API reference. But you'll get most things. You will be getting inner REST calls. As like this AP, I got requests and everything. You will not see any of the SAP calls with examples. That is what is there. Basically, business entity does what? That's why it is named as Business Entity Services. But for this API call, it is really necessary to go through business entity. This is something like to make a visibility in there. The 60 early. For an API call, it doesn't really matter. Even if you are making some distribution, it will be reflecting back in your table. Correct. These are utilized by third party. It is not utilized by UIO for us. It is utilized by a third party every time. Because let's say we have to go ahead and clean the entire tables. For cleaning the data, we always use CAPUI for cleaning. For that either, over here it will be directly being given. If over here it is not being given, then we always go ahead and use from over there itself. The SCF calls are there. Staging tables, truncate and all. Reference API listing. All these are there. Execute delete. Everything is there. For Tink, you can also take it for 10.4 and 10.4 F3 as well. We have all those areas. Then we can use truncate low rankle API. This delete is utilized for deleting the records. BUI cards, how we can go ahead and do that? It's all the API cards, API requests basically. If you have to execute any batch or anything like that, you can go ahead and do all those things. How many ORS lists are there? We can use get ORS list. Basically, this is utilized by functions or Java functions. The same can be utilized by SOAP APIs as well. All those are also there. CFFs are majorly used when we are creating the user exit. And when we say about SOAP API or the SOAP calls, we can have those as well. If you want this one for having the JavaScript or user exit, you can utilize this. For REST APIs, you can utilize directly this particular link for 10.4. And they have a bad way because even if I'm clicking over here, the entire stuff is going over there. I have to go ahead and do over here. Even if you click anywhere over here in this particular entire block, you have to keep making this. That's why it's a little bit hard when we go ahead and search something because it will go ahead and mess up every single time. You might be typing in multiple times. See over here. Basically, they have gone ahead and put a table over here. It's a little bit not hard whenever we go ahead and do any kind of things over here. This delete record will be utilizing. Either we want to go ahead and purge, then we will utilize the purge. Delete will be utilizing which particular source system. We have to go ahead and delete. If you just state this part, it will just go ahead and send the case. It is forced. We can go ahead and use delete. Save one. We have this. Give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Save. Save. Save one. This is the endpoint. This should be some place where we will be changing that particular action here. Everything is coming over here. They have a visual. From the visual, they can use a called or a REST call according to their own need. And that is how we go ahead. And because you can see over here, this is the entire same thing. It's the database name. What is ID for? And REST, basically for REST. And if you hit here, that will be on the SOAP. This is the SOAP. You can see the service and the local host. The action or action for me to do that particular. Action would be over here and in the SOAP. In the SOAP, it would be straight here. Get source systems. The page showcase. The link for that endpoint. The endpoint is. It will be just a name and just put it down for you guys like. Domain column port slash. That would be. It should be port, not port. Domain colon port slash. Once you go over here, all the ORs which you have, both ORs will be showcased over here in a separate sections. If somebody wants to go ahead and check, these are the REST-based accesses. The next step is over here. Basically, just go ahead, click over here, copy the link address, go over here. Basically, you just go ahead. It is directly get. I don't want the SOAP to be created. It is that. It will directly go ahead and ask me for getting the entire stuff from there. Authentication as well, where it can create all the sample requests for me. And it is not allowed. Basically, the admin which I sent out, there might be some issue in the sample was. There might be some errors over there. If you just go ahead, if there is nothing, it is going ahead and we are not able to check, or that is not able to import. Always go and validate. You will see errors. If there are no errors, that means you will be able to grab all the visual file. It's pretty simple with that. If you have errors, you will not be able to get that. From the backend where this particular thing is installed, you will have this address. Install directory /mdm/hub/server/log/cmexserver.log. This is one log file which is always post checked. There is an install directory wherever your MDM has been installed. Then there would be an MDM folder in that. And there would be a hub folder in that. Then there would be a server folder in that. And in that there would be a logs folder. Our MDM hub. Basically, it's not been coming up. There is some issue. That's why it was not working as expected. That is the place. And second place is what? Any application server or the hosting server which we have gone ahead, and over here we have JBoss, otherwise WebLogic or anything which is there. You just go into the server, whatever your server name is. Then you go into the logs. Then you'll find the application server log as. It's basically different in WebLogic and different in JBoss. There would be a main server log. It would be more than 10 to 15 MBs. You just grab that and you see in that particular clean server. Those are the two logs which we mostly go ahead and see. If there would be any error, there would be a KPS error and then it would be stated all the issues which has been listed now. Over here, if you can see, I do not have the access where it is being installed. That's it. And we don't have where MDM has been installed. Not even in the program files. Not even in program files. There is nothing where it has been installed. I have less idea where they have installed at this time. If I would have, then I would have showcased you. This is just the installer. It's not SQL which has already been installed. You cannot directly go ahead and get where they have installed at. These logs are something else. It's the Windows logs. It's not for us. Sorry, you are going ahead and stating something. I missed it. No, I was just asking for the cleans server log path. Is it that still that MDM hub then cleans server? What's that you mentioned? It would be this? It would be application server, whatever your server name is. Like, let's say you are going ahead and working with WebLogic. There would be the installable directory. Install directory. Then you will be going ahead and in the server which will be created the server name. Then slash, there would be a server name. That's basically cleans. Then logs. Then there would be a cleans log, would be the file, or there would be cleans log. Nothing would be there. It's basically an empty text file, but the text format will not be there. It would be a dot format. Those will be the logs for you to go ahead and see if there is any clean server issue. But for the best part is you go over here in the network diagram and any issue which you are getting. You just run your again and over here you will see the red marks and over here you will be able to see what will be the exact error which is going on in the logs. Over here we can see errors. If there are any errors over here. And finally do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.